Israel for 2,000 years has been looking for the Messiah, but the Messiah is there. They just don't recognize it, but he's there. Just like Joseph is there, but they don't know it here. Joseph is rejected by his brothers. He came, what does it say in John? In the beginning was the Word became flesh, and he came to his own, but his own did not receive him. He comes to his own brothers, which are the Jewish people, representing all of man, but the Jewish people, and they, the large part, rejected him. He was rejected by man. He was rejected by Israel. And so just like Joseph is rejected, and so Joseph is thrown into a pit, Messiah goes down to the depths of a pit we cannot even imagine. I was just at Caiaphas' house. It kind of sounds like I was just over having fellowship, having a meal with him. I was at Caiaphas' house where it's the house of the high priest, and you have these dungeons there. And these dungeons, these pits and dungeons where Messiah could have been. But that is nothing compared to the true pit he went down to the depths of hell for us to be saved. So you have this incredible picture here. Joseph, they conspire to kill him, and with Messiah they actually do. Now here's how it happened. Genesis 37, I'm reading from verse 18 from the story. This is where we left off. When they saw him from a distance, and before he came close to them, they plotted against him to put him to death. They said to one another, "Here comes this dreamer." They said, "Let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits, and we will say, 'A wild beast devoured him.' Then let's see what becomes of his dreams." But Reuben, he's the firstborn, heard this and rescued him out of their hands and said, "Let's not take his life." Reuben further said to him, "Shed no blood. Throw him in the pit that's in the wilderness, but don't lay hands on him, that he might rescue him out of their hands to restore him to his father." So it came about when Joseph reached his brothers, they stripped him of his tunic, the multicolored coat that was on him, and they took him and threw him in the pit. Now the pit was empty, no water in it. Then they sat down to eat a meal. As they raised their eyes and looked, behold, a caravan of Ishmaelites were coming from Gilead with their camels, bearing aromatic gum and balm and myrrh on their way down to Egypt. Judah said to his brothers, "What profits us if we kill our brother and cover up his blood? Let's sell him to the Ishmaelites. We won't lay a hand on him, for he's our brother, he's our own flesh." And his brothers listened to him. Then some Midianite traders passed by. They pulled him up, lifted Joseph out of the pit, sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. Thus they brought Joseph to Egypt. So they sell him for what? For pieces of silver. 20 pieces of silver. That sounds kind of familiar, because Messiah was sold also for pieces of silver, shekels, sold for 30 pieces of silver. But interesting, it's a little different, and yet, listen, this is years before Messiah. There's a little inflation, would maybe come out to 30 pieces of silver. His coat was dipped in the blood of a goat. Messiah's atonement is a symbol of the atonement. Now we move forward. The blood-dipped robe is sent to his father, representing the death of his beloved son. Now the rabbis link Joseph to Messiah. So here clearly is a picture. Even though Joseph doesn't actually die, it's a symbol. He goes through the symbol of death, the death of the son. Now rabbis will argue, number one, God doesn't have a son, and the idea of the death of God's son is foreign to Judaism. Really, the greatest moments in the Bible, Isaac offered up on the altar, another symbol of the death of the son. Again, Isaac is saved out of it, but you've got a picture of something going on. The son is being offered up. That's the picture. And then Passover, what is it? The lamb dies in place of who? The firstborn son. Again, it's the son, it's the lamb, the son together. And then the prophecies in the Bible of Messiah, who is the son. It says in Zechariah, "Awake, O sword, against the shepherd, my shepherd, the man who is my fellow or my equal." So that the sword is going to kill the shepherd who's an equal to God, Messiah. And then there is an ancient Jewish writing which actually has it said, it's not the Bible, but it's amazing that it's there. It has God saying, my son, the Messiah, my son, shall die. So they took Joseph's tunic, they slaughtered a male goat, verse 31, dipped the tunic in the blood, and they sent the multicolored tunic and brought it to their father, said, "We found this, please examine it to see whether it is your son's tunic," or not our brother, "your son's tunic or not." Then he examined it and said, "It is my son's tunic. A wild beast has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces." So Jacob tore his clothes, put sackcloth on his loins, and mourned for his son many days. All his sons and daughters arose to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. He said, "Surely I will go down to my death, to Sheol, in mourning for my son." So his father wept for him. So a symbol of the death of the beloved son, precious to God the Father. And so Messiah is the beloved son, and we have to hold his death precious as well. Jacob's house is left empty without him. And so without the son, life is empty. Something's always missing without the son. Without his presence, there's something missing. And that's why the more that you can have, they've got the coat, they've got the cloak, they got the outer things. But when you when you only have the outer things alive, when you don't have him to fill it, it's empty. And remember, Joseph is the reason why the family, he's the manifestation of why the family exists. So Messiah is the Logos, we said, the reason for creation, the reason for life, the reason for everything, and so the reason for Israel to exist. So for 2,000 years, Israel, the family of Messiah, has been empty of Messiah. And so Israel has been missing its center. And so you got, for instance, you got a Yom Kippur, that the holiest day is Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement, but there's no atonement. For 2,000 years, there's no atonement. The center is missing. You got Passover without a lamb of Passover. For 2,000 years, the center of Passover is missing. Everything, it's missing its center without Messiah, because Messiah is the center of Israel. And not just the center of Israel, he's the center of life. When you don't have him, your own life is empty, is missing until you have him. So they're thinking now the other thing about it is that here Jacob is mourning his son, yet his son exists. His son's alive. And I think of Israel, because Jacob, by the way, his name was changed to Israel. And you think Israel for 2,000 years has been looking for the Messiah, but the Messiah is there. They just don't recognize it, but he's there. Just like Joseph is there, but they don't know it here. Isaiah wrote of this. Isaiah, 700 years before Messiah came, amazing prophecy, he writes that Messiah shall be cut off out of the land of the living. The story of Joseph, he's cut off out of the land of his people. Messiah will be cut off. In Hebrews it says, let's go to him. He's outside the gate. Here you have a picture of Messiah not only being cut off, but cut off from his nation. For 2,000 years, Jesus, Yeshua, has been cut off from his nation. Just like Joseph. He's cut off in another place. So in the same way, Messiah is always outside the gate. He never fits into culture. Even if the culture is giving lip service to him, he's always outside the gate. The true Jesus is outside everything else. And you got to go outside to find him. That's what beyond everything else that you know, beyond this life and beyond your world. Now, there is a Yom Kippur prayer. It's actually there's the holiest day of the year, and there's a prayer, the Jewish prayer book. Listen to the words of this prayer. And I think they've kind of censored it out right now, but I have one of the older versions. Amazing. This is what the Jewish people are reading on the high holy days, or that they read. It says this, listen. Our righteous Messiah has departed from us. And now they're not saying, hey, we're waiting for Messiah. It says he's departed, like we had him and we lost him. Horror has seized us. We have nobody to justify us. He, Messiah, has carried the yoke of our sins and our transgressions, and he is wounded because of our transgressions. He carries our sins on his shoulders that we might find forgiveness for our iniquities. And by his wounds we shall be healed. What they're saying Messiah has come, but we lost him, and he's the Messiah who dies for our sins. That's Isaiah.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Cahn, and I hope you were blessed with the video. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. Feel free to share your reactions with your comments and how you were blessed, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.